get this party started.
What up, guys? Global Warning Podcast time. Vaughn Joseph here.
And Jirai.
Thanks for listening, guys. Reading this article, 5 million abortions committed so far in 2021. That's a lot of people dead. A lot of potential people dead. 5 million, and it's only April. And this article came out in February. I think that's wild. How can there be that many people aborted in a month and a half?
I mean, that's like globally speaking, right?
Yeah,
all around the world.
Still.
There's lockdown. People need things to do and then they regret it later. They're like, nah. They're like, if we ever have to have a lockdown again, but this time we got another baby or a baby in the mix, no thank you. No, I need to take care of it. So
that's crazy. As of this time of filing the story, no less than 5,411,000 plus people have committed abortions. Committed.
I know. Wow. Very loaded language. Yeah. They obviously have a certain stance. Let's put it that way.
Wow. According to World Health Organization, 45% of all abortions are unsafe, and almost all of these unsafe abortions occur in the developing world.
Oh yeah, South America is just rife for it. It is just absolutely ridiculous. The countries where it's illegal, and then people have to. Well, I can't remember. I think it was a case I was reading, maybe in Colombia. Was it Colombia or somewhere? No, maybe it was Ecuador, and it was about this girl, and she basically just made up that she was gang raped in the end because she kind of like go ahead with this baby that, you know, she wasn't married, is out of wedlock. And I'm just like, fuck me, this is such a like rabbit hole craziness that can occur, you know. It's just beyond my understanding. I just don't understand how abortion is illegal in any country, you know, despite any religious beliefs. It is beyond my reasoning.
I think it is a tough one. I don't understand how, well, I do understand, but I don't know why men feel the need to put their opinions in something like that. And it's all religion. It's all in the name of, well, it's all under the guise of religion, where they say,
yeah,
you know.
I agree. I remember, maybe it's a Huffington Post article, but they were talking about in America and people like voting on certain bills and stuff, and I was like, wait, how come it's all white middle-aged men voting on what women should be doing with their body? I mean, it was just, it was ridiculous. It's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, you have no right to dictate. You know, like, pass laws where women have options. Because have you ever seen Freakonomics?
No.
So there's a book or two, and it's quite interesting. It has like a different take on, it makes economics sound sexy, but it's talking about the kind of like social patterns and trends that have an economic impact. And I didn't read it, but I watched the documentary, and they were talking about abortion and how, I think he was talking about abortion in the Eastern Bloc when it was illegal, and but then it was introduced, it was legalized at some point, and they noted like that the amount of they were tracking the children of this generation, right? And they realized the social scientists, that these children were a lot more successful in terms of academically, in terms of like their social development, than the generation before, where abortion was made illegal. And they reduced it to the fact that women were they were really wanting to have these children. So therefore they were giving them the attention and care, and maybe their financial situation, like of the families, was better, so therefore they could really provide for these children. And I just thought to myself, like, why force somebody to have a child when hopefully, like, you might think that maybe when they have the child, the maternal instincts might kick in, and they want to take care. But if somebody doesn't want to have a child, don't force them, because that's a big fucking responsibility. It's not like having a dog. They're going to be around for a few years. They're going to be around for a long time if you're doing your job right, you know?
Forever.
Yeah. So I don't understand why you wouldn't give a woman that choice. And I know before the show, I just touched upon it, that in Utah now, they have ruled that men need to pay half the cost of their partner's pregnancy and birth costs. And I was like, okay, I like that, you know, because why not? You know, it takes two to party. It takes two to party. And I think men would think a little bit more if they're like, right, if I'm putting my dick in there without a cover, without a hood, then there's going to be some financial, like, it's like, I don't care about making another person, but wait, this is going to affect my finances. Yeah. I mean, I think it made them think again, you know? So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, Utah, I mean, with all due respect to Utah, that's a Mormon state. So they're doing all kinds of wild stuff in Utah anyway, with regards to traditional marriage and relationship situations are concerned. But I started thinking about that probably in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, about like what you said about this is going to affect me financially. I think because it's always been, for me, I've always looked at it from a standpoint of, regardless of any of that, of the other stuff, when I'm going to have sex with a woman, whether it just been somebody I just met or whatever, well, usually more towards that scenario. Do I want to have a kid with this person? That was always at the forefront of my thoughts, proceeding with what was probably going to take place later that evening or at that moment. And,
oh wow, that's an intense vibe you're saying. They're like, so what's your favorite ice cream? And you're like, do I want to have children with this woman?
Exactly, because it's like, if we're gonna have sex, I have to be like, I can't have a kid with this person. So if I think that, but I'm still like, but I really want to have sex with them, which is not usually the case, you gotta, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not down with, condom sex. I was
just like, you could just use a condom, or I don't know what these, like, is it femidoms are? I you know what, I just absolutely hate buying condoms. I'm always like, the guy, they can just deal with that. So this femidom thing, I guess you could order it online. I don't need to come up with an excuse anymore. But like, nah, yeah.
Well, if you want equal rights, man, you want equal. If I got to pay half for this kid, you can take your ass to the Rite Aid and buy the condoms.
Well, then I'm just a bit like, it depends on, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, after a while, you're just like, yeah, let's just dispense of that. But if it's like, you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to develop, then I'm just like, hey, I always freak them out. I love it. So I'll be like, they're like, oh, I'm like, okay, you're going to put a condom on. And they're like, and then I'm like, so what do you want to call it? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, a child, kind of thing. What do you think, baby boy, Bruce, or something? I was like, yeah, let's just get a payment plan in place right now, because not paying for that child myself. So yeah, you gotta think about this shit.
What do you think about? Because I've been like binging on trash TV the past couple months, and I mean like proper trash, like Maury Povich, "You Are Not the Father" type shit. What do you think about when a couple breaks up? Do you think that they should work out some sort of, like you said, a payment plan or financial plan when shit breaks down? Or do you think that the woman should go and put the man on child support to ensure that she gets some cake?
I mean, I think the first option would be preferable, because I think also, at the end of the day, I feel both parents should financially support the child. But then again, maybe sometimes that's, let's say the woman's career is more successful than the man, so she might be picking up more of the costs and stuff.
Right.
But I think there should, but I think as a parent, you should want to contribute in some shape or form. according to your means, not to your own, well, actually, well, if you're a parent, I'd say, yeah, you would to your own detriment. People have done, have literally gone out and prostituted themselves so they can, I actually know, well, when I went to India and I was working in a slum, I know that this is what a woman did, because it's like she lived in this tarpaulin shack and she had this beautiful little daughter that went to the local school where I was helping. Oh God, I was just like making a mess and putting glitter everywhere, like really, really instrumental to society. And then this woman, she did manual work, but when the manual work dried up, she did like other manual work. And like her husband and her son, who was, I don't know, like probably 18 plus, they were both alcoholics, drug addicts. So she did that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fucking judge you at all. I'm like, good on you. You know what I mean? Like, wow, what a fantastic woman to do that, So people do go to those lengths. So it would be nice if both adults are, sensible enough that they can just work it out and it can be reliable and they can rely on that money coming in every month or so. So
yeah, because I always see these people on the TV, and obviously there's a certain breed of human that is going to go on a Jerry Springer type show and start throwing chairs at somebody that they're not happy with, that they maybe had a kid or a situation with. But they are always like, I'm putting you on child support, blah, 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 blah. And the problem with that is, to me, is now you've invited the government into your life, like in a negative way. And it's not doesn't usually work out well, especially for the man. And that's when they don't want anything to do with the kid, and there's problems that come from that. If you can work it out yourself, obviously it's going to be way better. But I think we've been trained, at least in America, not so much here, I don't know the culture here as well, but in America we're trained, go right down to social services and they're going to put you on paper. And I think that's just bad. That's bad.
But then how does that work? Is it they are asking, okay, that's my perception here, is usually asking the father, the man, for the bare minimum. I mean, I don't imagine like these costs are outrageous. It's not like, what, you're going to keep your kid in like this season's designer kit every few months. I mean, it is just pretty minimum.
It depends
food,
on
clothes,
depends on the people.
Education.
Because I've seen situations where it's like you've got to take Dr. Dre's wife, for example, ex-wife, wanting $2 million a month for
what?
Upkeep. Yeah, fuck off. So she's, I got
her personal upkeep or children's upkeep.
This is for her. So
but this is different.
Well, it's similar, but the same thing that happens with these kids, and a lot of these women see their kid as a paycheck, and they take it to the extreme where we have to maintain a lifestyle that we're accustomed to, so therefore I need all this money. And I know, I don't want to say names, but I know personally of some people that I grew up with that have like kids. They've had 2 and 3 marriages and kids in each one, and collecting cash from each one. And I don't agree with it. And I think it seems like they're in business to just have a kid and just chill out. But a lot of times culturally, like I said, again, in the States, and I think because these relationships break down and these situations are just gnarly, and it depends on the people that you're dealing with. If you're not civil and you're not having like intellectual exchanges with one another, you're fighting. And if you're fighting, you're pissed off. And if you're pissed off, you're going to do shit to get back at somebody. And if you're doing shit to get back at somebody, the ultimate way is to invite somebody of authority. And the government is trained, especially Black women, at least, call the police, get us involved in this, and we'll sort you out. And that's where the problem is. They take your passport, they take your driver's license. You can't travel. A lot of cases they won't let you drive. You can't do shit. So it's like,
what do you mean, whilst they're sorting the arrangement out, or they are scared you're going to abscond and you won't pay?
That, and if you haven't paid, that's when they start to implement these things. I've seen stories where guys were paying child support for kids that weren't theirs,
What?
and even found out in the courts that the child wasn't his, and the court still mandated that they had to pay. So
Okay, I didn't get that.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense to me. But I think, for example, what you were saying about Dr. Dre's wife, for example. Okay, let's say that maybe the money, let's change like a few of the facts, whatever. Let's say, okay, she's wanting 2 million for her and the children or something. Like for me, like this is like the most ridiculous amount of money. But if the husband can afford that, let's say, let's make it more of a realistic, I don't know, I have no idea. Like saying I want to have like, can you give me and the kids like $4,000, $5,000? I have no fucking idea. And the husband can afford it. And yes, they have big, they were accustomed to a certain lifestyle before, I feel like fine, that's fine. But I don't feel it should be to the absolute financial ruin of, either partner, whoever's the one in the financial, I don't know, has the financial advantage. Because I do actually feel quite sorry for men. And like my parents are divorced, but I think actually because of like my age, like now I'm prowling on like the divorcees, and like a couple I've had, like dated and stuff. I do feel for them, like they really have to build themselves up financially afterwards, and the thing is I think actually in both cases, like the wife also has a very good career. So it's not as bad as if like the wife was like completely reliant on them. But I just do feel, oh, wow, I mean, I know someone at the moment who's about to get divorced and he's giving the house to her. He like is going to be a non-contest thing because they have they have a son and he's just giving the house. And I'm like, wow. And he's just like, well, it kind of works out. It means like I don't have to, what you call it, I don't have to pay much maintenance going forward. But I'm like, fuck, man, that's like your house, like deed, your name's on the deeds. But like, I think he's like confident enough that he can be financially like okay. He won't have the lifestyle necessarily that he did before. But I really felt for him, and I was, sometimes that's that whole like it takes two to tango, which I think I did say earlier on about like making babies. Well, that's true, But then I felt like his wife's a real bitch as well. So I just feel a bit like double whammy, like it's not even your fault, and now you're going to be reduced to living in certain conditions. So I think it'd be fine, but yeah, it just did make me feel a bit sorry.
That's been the argument that I've heard from a lot of men as to why they won't get married. There's very little benefit to the man to get married, at least in America anymore. Back in the day, I always say back in the day is obviously anytime before I was around, marriage had a reason. It had a financial impact. It had community implications, business. There's all these things as to why you would get married because people went to church back in the day, whereas people don't tend to go to church as much now. And you didn't have kids out of wedlock back in the in the 50s, whereas that that happens every day, all day, everywhere. So
yeah,
there are different cultural structures that were at play back then, whereas now those things don't really exist. There's so many options out there, and people are so, I think because people are so much more open with their sexuality, and there's internet and I can find whatever I want somewhere, that it's easier to say, all right, I'm done with this, I gotta go, and then I can go find this somewhere else. And that's the problem with dating as well. You just keep on moving on and moving on.
It's very disposable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you lose, if a man and a woman are together, and like you say, he's going to lose his house, he's probably going to lose his car, he's going to lose half his money, and he's almost usually not going to get the kids. So it's like he's walking away with a whole lot less than he went into this situation with. And it's just not advantageous for you to enter into something like that. It doesn't make sense financially if you're well off, especially. And if you ask for some sort of prenuptial option, then you don't love me, and then there's that battle.
So I would be fine with that personally, because I mean, I'm going to be honest. I mean, like it's not like I have my own property or anything. But if I was to get with somebody and they had their own, I'm like, no, like what right do I have over that property? I don't, unless like we agree something like, okay, I'm going to contribute to the mortgage. But then at the end of it, like let's say we separated, I would only be entitled to recover that share of what I contributed financially, because I guess it just depends what people go into the marriage or their objective.
Yeah.
But
I
but
think
I yeah.
that's only right if you're a normal, well-adjusted person. And even sometimes it's not always the case when the chips are on the table. Because a lot of times you might go into a situation like that, but
Yeah.
I might have made you crazy as shit over the past
Yeah.
5 years where you were like, I'm gonna either kill this motherfucker or I gotta get away from him and I gotta get him. And I want your
Yeah,
baseball
yeah.
card collection. I want your comic books. You know, like you don't want any of that stuff. You just want to hurt
To
me.
hurt you. Yeah,
Right,
exactly. But
exactly.
then, yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, let's say if you were really mistreated, and you know, like they cheated on you, and then they given you like I don't know some like syphilis. Then
Damn.
I'd be like, I'm taking everything. I'll take
Yeah.
everything.
In
I'll
that
take your shirt off
case,
your back, bitch. I'll
yeah.
take
Get your
it.
paper. Get your paper.
Yeah, but I don't think prenups are necessarily a bad thing, because I think that's the thing. If you go in and you have the best of intentions to each other, you're putting down this information when you're really well. Let's say, well, love can make you crazy. It's like it has the same effect in your brain as if you were having cocaine. But if you're more rational at that point, it could help. But yeah, exactly. You know, if circumstances change and they're like they're not that, you know, they weren't that nice to me, then maybe you're like, maybe I do need some compensation.
Your Honor, I put up with so much shit over the past 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, half his shit.
But I do know someone who's set up a company, is very successful in what he does, and he's about, I don't know, he set it up a few years ago and he's about to sell. His share, right, is 90 million. When he sells out, he's going to get 90 million, right? And guess how much he has to give to his ex-wife?
Wait a minute, hold on. Let's back this up before we get to this astonishing amount. So, ex-wife, was she attached to this business development plan on any level?
No, only in terms of she took care of the children.
Oh, here we go. Let me put my Bill Burr hat on. It's the toughest job on earth.
Yeah.
So
I don't think for this amount of money, you know, for like, I'm just like, it's not worth this amount of money.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. So it's like she's going to say, I'm accustomed to living a lifestyle. So are my kids. I don't know how old they are. We'll say they're 5 years old. Those kids aren't old enough to even know anything about anything. Yeah. They don't know that this isn't the newest MacBook that I'm using. They don't know any of that stuff. She is accustomed to that. And she's going to spend the money on stuff. Go.
Well, I was just going to say, from what I know, she's not really even one of those to be like, oh, I need to have designer this, designer that. Nothing like that. Like quite level, you know, like down to earth. But the thing is, like, when they got together, they didn't have anything, right? So you could always kind of say, well, exactly, this person's not really expecting necessarily to always have a penthouse, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, so then he made the money during the marriage,
right?
And there might have been like certain circumstances that happened that actually kind of inspired him, motivated him to set up this company. You could say, okay, like the more inadvertent factors. But yeah, so now, okay, they're going to sell the company on this scrap. How much do you think she's getting of that?
He's getting 90, you said, or 40?
Yeah.
90?
90, yeah.
Oh, she's getting at least 40. At least.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah, half his shit for nothing. That's like the chick that Tiger Woods had to give half his shit to. And she was the flipping maid. She was a maid. And then, I don't even want to get into that, but that's his own fault.
Like the vein throbbing. Yeah, and the thing is, he is so gracious about it. He's like, oh, she's taking care of the kids. I'm like, fuck me. Like, no, that's not worth 45 million. Like, how many millionaires would we have in the world if that was the real price?
Exactly.
Of mother. Yeah, I was just like, that woman got it so fucking lucky, because even before, she didn't really have a career or anything. So I'm just a bit like, yeah.
So it's a lot of people like that, you know, on both sides of the coin. that do that. That's the thing. It's like you never really know who you're dealing with and what they're going to do down the line, because feelings and people change over time. And
Yeah.
the way you feel about somebody today isn't necessarily the way you're going to feel about them in 10 years from now, or however long they were together. But um,
I
that's
was just
rough.
thinking of K-Fed and Britney Spears.
Oh yeah, that's another
I
prime
wanted to think of
example.
another example of, like, a man taking advantage of a woman. So, yeah, that was just nasty.
That's wild. So, that's definitely your global warning for the day, you guys.
Don't
So if
get
you're,
married.
yeah, don't get a prenup. If you live in Utah, get ready to kick in half for your childbearing expenses.
Cha-ching.
I mean, I'm not mad at that one. I mean,
No, I think that's very reasonable. And I mean, thank God we have the NHS in this country, but fuck me, was it 4,500 for a birth? I'm like, yeah, you know what? I might, it would be great if you could chip in. That'd
yeah.
be real sweet.
I think that might be a contributing factor why people just turn it into a smoothie. I mean, it's like, if it costs me that much to have the child and I don't have it,
I'll do a
but
smoothie.
it only costs me 500. I know that was inappropriate,
It
but
was
if it,
1,000 for an abortion.
no
Yeah.
way, it doesn't cost that much for an abortion.
That's what it said in this article on the
Oh
BBC.
man,
It said $1,000.
Where?
Oh no, boy, please. You're like, actually, I got it for like $20.
Maybe I just got I just got for $300 because she needed a new wallet or watch or new purse or something. I don't know. But again, that was 20 plus years ago, 30 years ago. So who knows? Anyway, yeah, I mean that's rough. But women had the advantage. Women do crazy stuff. Men do crazy stuff. I was reading this article about this girl from here actually. That's she's gonna marry or wants to marry this guy in the States, and he's a double convicted murderer, and he's in prison. And he's killed 2 guys in like a gangland hit.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks that she's gonna go to the States and marry this guy, and he's not even getting out of prison for another 15 or 13, 14 years or something like that. Why do women fall in love with guys that are in prison? And this isn't the first story I've seen like this. What's up with that,
No,
Jenny?
I'm like, hey, wait. First of all, this is like not my thing.
Hey,
I mean, this
it's
is
your
real
species.
niche.
You are here representing the female,
all women,
all of them.
Yeah, I've seen shows like that, and when women like write to these serial killers and on death row even, and they I find it very confusing. I don't know, I was trying to think, like, from a psychological point of view, like maybe the fact, like, they have some notoriety and all this kind of stuff, and maybe some women feel that who knows, like maybe part of them feels like, oh, I can help him find redemption to some degree, or they are not very, I mean, obviously something's wrong. I feel like something's like a little bit off kilter with them, to want this, like, and the fact maybe the idea they can actually never really have a proper relationship with the person because they're behind bars. Maybe that appeals to them on some levels because they're not really capable of like having a healthy relationship. I honestly, it's just so far removed from my rationale. I don't know. I guess, I mean, this is like, somebody liking a bad boy to the extreme.
There's plenty of them out there. There's plenty of them out there, though. Go out into the street and find one that you can actually, go do some bad boy stuff with, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe think to yourself, like, hey, the fact they haven't been caught, that might be like, well, kudos to them. And exactly, I just don't understand I don't know, even long distance relationship, let alone somebody in jail and who's killed people.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the appeal.
She's young too. She was in her 20s, I think. And I think she's 26. She's from Essex. He's 30 or something like that, or 20. No, he's 26. I don't know. I don't know the numbers in front of me. I'm trying to remember. No, he's 30. Here it is right here. He's 30. She's 26. Yeah. He's serving 24 years. for 2 gangland hits and 3 armed robberies. So first of all, I had a guy. She's not moving to America. She's not going to be able to just go and marry this guy and become a citizen. Firstly, I had an employee of mine that before I moved here, who had a girlfriend, fiance from Mexico. Now we know that there's this bone of contention between America and this wall and all this crap. So, but Mexicans are moving in and out of the U.S. all the time. There's people sneaking across the border right now, right? Literally this very second. So he was telling me all these hoops and paperwork that they had to do in order for her to get a green card or whatever it was. And he was a legit, citizen. He's never done anything in his life, and so was she. So there was a major problem with her getting in there. Now, as far as the prison guy coming to the UK, that's not going to happen. You don't get a passport when you're a convicted felon, and the United Kingdom is definitely not going to say, "Oh yeah, you killed 2 people. Yeah, come on over. Come on over. You're obviously a benefit, a plus to our society." Fuck no. Absolutely not. So something else is going on in this girl's head. She's so young. She's only 26. I mean, how could things be that bad? I mean, she's not a bad looking woman. She looks, and I hate to say this, but she looks a little crazy. Like I look at women and I get like, just think about when you're cruising through a dating app, for example, and you're looking at guys' pictures, in your case and in mine, women, whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, she looks like she cries a lot, or she looks like she would pop off on you real easy. Like I can look at a lot of women and see that in their eyes, like, oh yeah, that's a problem.
But I just think that's probably just, you can just read people in general. Yeah, it's not like I got a crazy woman radar. It's just like you can read it. Yeah. Like I get that, like on the apps, whatever, or just like in general. So yeah,
there's definitely something behind people's eyes. That's why they always put that little black bar over people's eyes on videos, because if you can't see their eyes, you can't see their intent. You can't generally tell that it's definitely that person. But yeah, that's wild. That's some shit I won't care about next week. Nobody should. But I don't think
sorry for her. What's she doing?
I have no
what
idea.
Is she doing? Like, what about her family? Like, I would just be like, no, like, even if she was like, quite, let's say she was really balanced before, and then suddenly this, I'd be like, mate, we need to get you serious help. Like, why would you? I'm not saying people, okay, this guy killed 2 people, but I'm not saying they're not lovable. They're not lovable. They're not cute and cuddly. Okay, like sometimes people have done terrible things, but it's not a complete indictment on their character. Like circumstances have made them do it. They were, had a terrible childhood, like all these factors, you can kind of understand why somebody did something, doesn't make it right. So it's not, so she might be, I can understand, in a way, maybe I can see like some people like, okay, they were a victim of their circumstances. Did they have the opportunity to take the bull by the horns? Possibly, but they didn't. I mean, but it's their decision to love that person. So I feel like in a way that's quite beautiful. It's quite, like redemptive or something. But at the same time, just even logistically to have a relationship with somebody like that, it's just like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking? Like, what's she gonna do? Like, have a conjugal visit and like, oh, now we've got 3 children. Yeah. And like, what is this in the state of Utah? So hey, you're gonna have to pay for half the costs of the pregnancy and stuff. Like, I just didn't get it. I didn't get it.
That's wild. Oh my God, this guy's in Michigan. That's where I'm from.
Oh my God,
that's crazy. So yeah, we don't have conjugal visits in the state of Michigan, so that shit's not happening. Just so you're aware. But they're gonna get married. They're gonna try to. I mean, who knows?
But who knows? Who would condone that? I really don't know how far this goes in terms of like marriages. Like, do you have the right? Like, I would imagine you have the right to marry whoever you want to a degree. Okay, like, talking about like in monogamous relationships, or like what do you call it, polygamous. But if it's somebody who's convicted, I guess you could still marry them. Like I guess, but
He's
whether you'd have the right to remain in that country, no,
no,
you
that's not
know.
happening. That's not happening. He's playing her. I mean, it's you have to think about it from his standpoint. He's locked up.
Yeah,
He's going to be there for a while. I don't know what his family situation is, and with regards to how money is with him and what he's doing in prison. They don't pay people in prison hardly anything. It's basically legalized slavery. So they can work all day and only pay them like $2 or something like that, right?
do
They
you
don't.
get paid in prison?
Oh yeah, they make money in
What?
prison. That's why prison's a business. That's why. Oh my God, this is a
No,
whole
no,
nother
no. What, you
podcast.
actually
Yes,
pay
yeah,
the inmate?
yes, they pay them to work, but they get paid something like 30 cents an hour, right? So they get paid to make license plates. They get paid to uh, make clothing. A lot of stuff takes place inside a prison that corporations have put into place, and that's why there's this mass privatization of the prison industrial complex in America, where they're not really government, they're not federally run. There's very few federal institutions that I could open a
Mm,
prison if I wanted to, if I could get clearance to open this building and da da da. And then they get contracts. So then they say, hey, we need somebody to stitch together these Nikes or whatever. I don't know, but I'll take on that account instead of you sending stuff from somewhere else and them charging you $10 an hour or per shoe. I can charge you $1 per shoe. I'm going to have these inmates doing it. And our Constitution indicates that I can do that. I don't have to pay them anything, right? But we want to keep them
yeah.
happy. They need to eat, and they don't want to just eat the three hots that we're giving them. They have commissary for that, so they want to eat Doritos, but we don't sell Doritos or serve Doritos at the cafeteria. So they can get paid.
Yeah.
They don't get paid a lot, but there's businesses that do go into business with prisons so that they can get stuff done super, super cheap. So,
I had no idea. I
oh
had no
yeah,
idea.
oh yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, um, this woman spends about 270 pounds a month on phone calls and emails, right? So it's $20 to send 200 messages to this guy's jail account. And she
Mm,
sends them food, you know, they have books, so it's like you can put money on my books, so I can get, like, if his mom's like, I'm not sending you anything, he has to find somebody outside that he can get to do that. And I think
yeah.
that's what she is. And he'll sweet talk her and ooh and ah, and they do this all the time. But I mean, at the end of the day, this guy's wild. I mean, you have to understand, if he's killed two people, I don't know how he's going to be out in 10 years anyway. But
Yeah.
after doing something so crazy, I don't think you should be out at all. But um,
But I think that's the thing, because even I think I can't remember what program I was watching, but yeah, this guy was talking about all these women who like write to him. For him, it's a way to pass the time.
yeah,
I don't think, I don't know, they didn't delve into whether he was getting any kind of like financial or like whatever, like material bonuses from any of the relationships. But yeah, so his intentions are, or you could say, well, kind of obvious, or are pointing to this. Whilst with her, she's just like, well, yeah, I hope she just wakes up. She meets a nice local Essex lad, treats her right, hasn't killed anybody.
uh, she's
Um,
got this guy's initials tattooed on her
uh,
wrist.
oh, oh
Yeah,
dear, what's
this
Scott doing?
this chick. Oh yeah, she doesn't even take care of her nails, man. So she's not. That's
Because
one
she's
thing.
spending all that money on him,
God, just 270, bruh. That's one thing I noticed about a woman, certain women, that if they don't
Yeah.
take care of their nails, I won't consider. I mean, I get it's lockdown, or not really, but during this time that we're in, I remember
Mm,
meeting this woman. I used to work at this music store way back in the day. This is like 93. I was just out of high school. So it was 93. And this woman comes into the store, and I was just working there as like Christmas help. That's how I remember the year, not because I'm like autistic and crazy with remembering dates, but
Mm.
at least not diagnosed as such. But she came in and she's talking to me, and she was definitely interested in me. I was only 20 at the time. When I said 93, so I was 20, turning
How
20.
old was she?
30s, easy 30s. She was
Okay,
definitely an
yeah.
older woman. So
Mm.
I was intrigued. She was really pretty. And but her nails, she didn't take care of her nails. I'm like, how do your hands look like that? So I was like, yeah, I can only imagine what your house looks like.
Oh,
And
wait. Go into more detail. What is your definition of a woman taking care of her nails?
now her nails were, most women that I know, and at that time, coming from the girlfriend that I had at that time, she was very much into getting her nails done. You know, her hair was gorgeous all the time. She was just took care of herself. This woman's
Mm.
nails were chipped up, and
Oh, okay.
you know, like you wouldn't. They might even have been dirty. I mean, mind you, this is like, you
Ooh.
know, a long ass time ago. I don't remember exactly, but you could tell like there was not. This was not a a part of her life that she really gave a damn about. At least you wouldn't come out of the house, in my experience, looking like that, right?
Oh, wow, yeah.
As a woman over 14 years old, you know, you
Mm-mm-mm.
would care. You wouldn't come out shopping, and especially where I lived, it was a nice area. You wouldn't come out looking like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was immediate.
Because,
Just go ahead.
sorry. Well,
I was
sorry
just
to
saying
cut you off there.
that's immediate disqualification. That's all.
Okay. Well, the thing is, because like when you said about taking care of your nails, I was like, oh, I mean, I don't paint my nails. I do it very infrequently because it doesn't matter how long you fucking wait for them to dry. That's if you're doing it at home. They never dry, like literally. And then you're like, hey, I painted them in the morning, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up, and then they have like the imprint of your bed sheets, and you're like, what the fuck, man? And so I find it very annoying, and then they just chip. So then that looks really bad. Like if you did take care, and then they're chipping, and then you have the gel stuff, which I do every once in a while. I actually started getting into that before lockdown, like whatever the start of lockdown last year. And then I had this whole skanky situation where the gel was going off, and then I didn't have the necessary thing to strip it off. Yeah, so it was kind of us. But yeah, they're clean, they're shaped and stuff. But I think just men as well, like the guys who like have the rolling tobacco and they always just have like fucking tobacco like under their nails and stuff. It is
Really?
rank. It is so rank. Yes, yes. So like
Wow.
just everyone, keep yourself clean, take care of your hands, all that kind of stuff. And like I do agree with what you were saying about, if she does maybe I think she's just a very, what? I was gonna say I agree with what you're saying about maybe her place is not that clean. But wait, maybe that's why her nails are chipped because she's scrubbing, she's cleaning away. Also wear gloves. Wear gloves. They're a lifesaver. You want your hands to age before you do. But yeah, like for example, if somebody is not very, but then again, I was gonna say if they're not well put together, you would think their house is not well put together. But that's actually not necessarily true because sometimes they're very well put together
Oh yeah, and their house is
and
trash.
yeah,
You know.
and you're just like, and I remember seeing some show, and it was called How Clean Is Your House, and you had like these two women, and there's one woman who had like this crazy hairstyle, whatever, and they're like OCD, clean freaks, and they go to people's houses, and like this guy, I don't know, it probably was just for TV, but he was like this investment banker who would wear these tailored Italian suits, all this kind of stuff, and he looked, everything was pristine, every little hair. And then you go to his house, which looked like it'd been bombed. And you're just a bit like, what are you, a squatter? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. It was just so abysmal. And it was just like, no. I mean, it must have been TV. It must have been TV because I'm just like, there's no way that could come out of that. I was just like, that's
It
too
could
much.
have. Men are lazy. I mean, I literally just bought a robot to vacuum the floor.
Oh, I love that.
I'm
Yeah.
not vacuuming shit. Like I can't be
I hate
bothered.
it.
I'm not vacuuming. I'd rather have this little thing run around. All the floors are wood on all except for on the ground floor, which are stone. So I don't. I don't need to vacuum.
Yeah.
But I don't want to clean my house, and lockdown has made me have to clean. And I mean, this is a
Yeah.
big ass house, you know, compared to where I was at that place could fit in here twice easy, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really big. So I got a lot of cleaning to do, and I don't want to do it.
Mm,
I'd much rather pay somebody like the lady next door. She owns like 4 houses right behind me, and
yeah.
she's got a cleaner. I'm gonna have to go and pinch her cleaner and see if those two can come
Yeah,
in.
like you see her like walking and you're like, hey, come over here quick. Like, come, come. And she's like, and you're like, money,
Come
money,
and
money.
dust these Venetian blinds. Just the
I
blinds
got
alone. I got 13 windows in this house. You know, it's like
yeah.
dusting all these blinds, bro. Come on. So I think men aren't as tidy as women in general. I think I actually went on a date with this girl once, and I liked her. And it was in California, and she was really pretty. She looked good. She was put together well. Went to her house to pick her up to go out to dinner, and her house was jacked. And I mean, it's like you knew I was coming over here, so and not the whole house, but she
Just
had
shit on the walls and the toilet or something.
Damn, you had some explosive diarrhea or something. What's going on? And not putting your face near that thing. Um, but she had just gotten a dog or something recently, and the dog had torn up something, and she didn't clean it up. And it's like, you know, I was coming. I wouldn't, you know. Anyway, that was the last.
Yeah, that's quite
that.
disturbing. That's not even just aesthetically displeasing, that has health risks, you know, having like, but then that reminds me of that. I don't know if we discussed this in point, but you know, there was like a Chinese Insta star, and she was like really high fashion, and it's all about, you know, being in the hottest places. And then she wasn't paying her rent, so her landlord started posting pictures of the state of her apartment, and it was terrible because she had a dog, and the dog just shat all over the place. You'd never clean it, and like there was like moldy shit. Meanwhile, this girl's wearing Chanel, going, you know, eating whatever the best restaurants. But and also just one more thing, I remember seeing this. I thought it was so funny because, you know, I told you like when I was going out with this guy called Vincent, like he didn't have a light in his fucking bathroom for
Good
6
old
months.
Vincent.
The lime
Welcome back to the
scale,
podcast.
the limes. I honestly, you can like get a chisel and just take off the line scale in that bathroom. I was just like, fuck me, rank. I can't even imagine what it's like now. It's probably definitely reverted back to that state after I left, like within a week. And there was this guy, no, there was a post of this woman, and she wrote something about like, I never gone back to my boyfriend's place. He always insisted on coming to mine. And then she was like, no, come on, like I want to go to yours. And then she goes to his place, and he doesn't have a bed, right? So she's like, what? And she goes into the room and sees he has a nest.
What?
He has a nest, yeah, which he makes out of clothes, his dirty clothes. And this is the thing, because he was like, yeah, like this is how I sleep. And I was like I want you to come into this nest with me. And then she's like, these clothes aren't even clean.
Oh dear.
And then it became this whole bone of contention. She was like, I don't want to sleep in a nest. And then I think she made him buy a bed. But I'm just like, wow, how is this a thing? How is this a thing?
Some people are just into some weird shit, man. It's like you have to remember that no matter where you are, there's always somebody out there like this guy, right? So there's always somebody out there that's willing to sleep on clothes, wear a dress, wear a diaper, just into some alternative
men wearing dresses, whatever, you know, it's so commonplace these days.
into alternative stuff. And that's why he never brought her back to his house, because he was like, I don't know if you're ready for this, but this is how I sleep. And maybe, I don't know, like I dated this woman once, and I don't know if I think it's just circumstances. Maybe if you grew up with where money was an issue, or you're just coming out of a situation where the person you were with had all the stuff, and then you're
Mm,
getting yourself together. But it's like she didn't have a laundry basket, which okay, fine. She didn't have like a garbage can in her kitchen, and she's throwing stuff in a bag that's in a box on the floor. Like, buy a
mm.
fucking trash can. You
Yeah,
buy a
like they're not that
trash can.
expensive.
No, it's cheap. So it's like
Yeah.
we were out one day, and like, you need to buy a laundry basket. You're throwing stuff in an IKEA bag, and
Mm,
you're too old for that shit.
yeah, exactly. That's such a student move. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you're too old. You need to bite the bullet. And she made more money than I did. It's not like I make loads, but she could afford
Yeah.
this stuff. She could afford it, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just how people are. So,
Strange. Yeah.
people are strange when you're a stranger. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Ride joining me from secret location with back massages and hot chocolate in her mug. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and yeah, that's what's up. We'll follow you when you follow us, and we'll talk to you when we do. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Thank you.